Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Windows to Heaven Art. So glad to have you guys here with me today. In this episode, I'm going to be introducing a new series that I'm really excited about, and one that I'm going to call Practicing Portraits. So what we're going to do in this series, as I add more videos to it, is we're going to study and practice doing portraits in various mediums. So we're going to be looking at acrylic. We're going to hopefully do oils for the first time for me, because I've never done an oil portrait before. And we're going to do digital portraits as well, which I think is a great way to learn and practice, as well as getting into some other unique ways to put together a portrait. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
Out of the 8 billion or so people in the world today, no two are alike. Every person that has ever been is totally unique. We're walking storybooks with riddles written in smile lines and chapters of personality. There's way more to people than first appearances suggest, and beauty is better than skin-deep superficiality. There's meaning by design. How do you and I capture that when creating portraits of our own? I'm not totally sure how to capture it all yet, but that's what we're gonna try. Now, these are some portraits that I have done, the first two being digital paintings. And then these are some sketches that I've done practicing by simply looking at the reference photo and trying to capture the image freehand, which helps train your eye. This is a acrylic portrait that I painted on a 10 by 8 inch canvas, I believe, and then moving on into a type of painting that I've done, actually combining a sketch with an acrylic painting digitally, and then also using real photos of snow falling, and then just kind of combining it all. This is actually some sketches that I did years and years and years ago, including this one here, which is a Prismacolor drawing. And one thing I've noticed is that when you practice doing portraits, inevitably you will get it the way you want it and be super proud of it, and then look back at it years later and suddenly see things that you do differently now if you were to redo it. Now that is not a defeat, but it's an accomplishment in itself, because it means that we are getting better and learning. It shows that we're progressing. So this here is a example of that, where you notice that the eyes are wrong, and also just kind of a lot of the details in the face itself are just wrong, when at the time I thought it was not half bad, which it really isn't half bad. It just shows that I've picked up more of a know-how when it comes to the way things should look. And I guess that really just happens over time. It happens as you practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint a digital painting here together, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through some of the things that I've been learning recently in doing that. First off, we're going to start with the sketch. And this being the first step, you want to make sure that you get it pretty much exactly the way you want it to be, because that's going to provide the guidelines for basically all the shadows and everything. So whether you are simply looking at the image and doing it freehand, in that case you're going to probably be doing a lot of erasing to make sure you get everything right, or whether you're using a grid, that works too, to get it pretty precise. In this case, since I'm doing digital, I actually take the reference photo and put the opacity like at 50% or something, so I can see it, and then I just basically trace the image so that I can get it exact, and then I move on to the background, which you are going to want to keep the background more or less blurry, because your eye is going to be drawn into the face, which of course in a portrait is going to be the focal point. So then we start to layer, and I like to start dark and then work my way up to the highlights, which will be at the end. It's kind of like building a building. You are layering and just building up layers on top of each other, adding in more and more along the way as you go. So I'm establishing the shadows. I'm just keeping the warm and cool tones in mind as I do that. And of course, putting on the layers for the clothing as well, starting out as basically as simple as you can make it, and then just layering and building on top of it as you go, adding in more and more detail. So like you start to notice the painting is getting more light, hitting the side of the face, where the light is coming in from the right side of the painting. And then also, just as far as composition goes, notice that the face is not directly in the middle of the painting. I think that adds intrigue as well, and it is visually pleasing to your eye when, you know, like the horizon isn't directly cutting the painting in half, and then the face and, you know, the focal point isn't directly in the middle of the painting. So you notice now that the painting is looking a lot more finished as I start to add in more details like individual hair, and then also putting in the eyes and just doing a lot of shadowing and highlighting and keeping the color tones in mind for hot and cool, warm and cold lighting as we finish up towards the end here. So that's basically in a nutshell what creating a portrait is like for me at this point in my art.
Thank you guys again for coming out and enjoying this video along with me. It was a pleasure to have you here. Hope this video was beneficial to you as an artist and that you were able to pick up some tips and tricks to employ in your own art. If you like the video, be sure to leave me a like and subscribe for future videos. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can leave me a comment in the comment section below. I really appreciate what you guys have to say and your input. Until next time, God bless you guys. We'll see you later.